Eric Bischoff explains why there's no coming back for AEW without the Warner Brothers Discovery television deal. Also, Bischoff says that CM Punk's acquisition in WWE could be one of the most financially successful acquisitions in professional wrestling history. We've got an update on how Kenny Omega's indefinite absence is affecting AEW storyline plans. Bryan Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness is a real possibility for AEW All In next year at London's Wembley Stadium. A big update on Charlotte Flair's knee injury and just how severe the ACL tear is, and possibly some other injuries as well. Several updates on several absent WWE superstars and what they're doing right now. Will Osprey has revealed when his final Rev Pro match is going to take place, and Top Dollar reveals how his infamous SmackDown botch saved his life. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about Eric Bischoff talking about AEW and how the possible talks between WWE and Warner Brothers Discovery could affect AEW's future. Now, certainly the effects of CM Punk's return to WWE continue to ripple out, and one of those effects is seemingly on WWE's negotiations with Warner Brothers Discovery. The rumors of negotiations between the two parties have put the future of AEW in question in the eyes of many, as they currently call WBD Networks home. Former WCW president Eric Bischoff thinks that losing Warner Brothers Discovery could hurt AEW in the eyes of fans. Quote, "The audience will lose faith in the brand if AEW moves to any network that is perceived as lesser," Bischoff said on Strictly Business recently. Quote, "They will decide that it's no longer worth their time." Bischoff went on to explain that a producer from The Tonight Show with Jay Leno told him that it can be almost impossible to get back viewers that have given up. Quote, "It's harder to get them back than it was to get them in the first time," Bischoff said, quoting his producer friend. Bischoff believes that the drama with CM Punk soured the audience on the product, compounded by a number of other smaller quibbles, and that the loss of AEW's partnership with WBD could curdle their opinion further, likening it to the final straw. Quote, "If AEW loses WBD, there's no coming back." Now, while Bischoff is full of doom and gloom, AEW president Tony Khan recently said that AEW and Warner Brothers Discovery were in the middle of talks that he described as very positive. WBD has also recently been rumored to be possibly facing bankruptcy, having a 60% chance of bankruptcy, so certainly that could play an interesting part when it comes to the media rights negotiations, not only with AEW but also WWE, as well as the media rights for the NBA as well. Certainly several options still at play. So what are your thoughts on Bischoff's comments about AEW and Warner Brothers Discovery? Now, speaking of Bischoff, once he was a huge critic of CM Punk. Now, seemingly, he's a big fan, flip-flopping about whether or not Punk is a draw in professional wrestling. Now, hell froze over again as Eric Bischoff praised CM Punk's WWE return. The former WCW boss was a vocal critic of Punk during his time in All Elite Wrestling, once describing him as a financial flop for the company. However, on the latest episode of Strictly Business, he explained that Punk has had the opposite effect in WWE, as he's a bona fide draw for the sports entertainment promotion. Quote, "I'm going to go on record right now in saying that the acquisition of CM Punk by WWE might be one of the most financially successful acquisitions in the history of professional wrestling." Whoa, did I just say that? Bischoff said. Well, it seems that Bischoff has changed his tune about the controversial star. He sticks by his previous comments about Punk's AEW run. He compared Punk's recent WWE return to when he debuted in AEW, noting that his current employer knows how to maximize his full financial potential. Quote, "The difference and the answer to that question lies in the CM Punk that I saw when he first showed up in AEW and the CM Punk I saw when he showed up in WWE. Two different people, two different shows, two different businesses, two different approaches to the product. One would not draw a dime or increase television revenues," which was true. It was absolutely true and accurate. And one, as of right now, two different situations completely. So, what are your thoughts on Bischoff's change and about face when it comes to CM Punk and his drawing power? Is it just because of WWE? Is it just because of AEW? Is it just because Bischoff has a vendetta? Let me know your thoughts about that as well. Now, we've got a bit of an update when it comes to Kenny Omega. Now, Kenny Omega, of course, has been sidelined indefinitely due to diverticulitis. Now, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful is reporting that Fightful has learned that Kenny Omega actually felt ill even before his AEW Collision match with Ethan Page in Canada a couple of weeks ago, but kept it very close to the vest. Things had worsened by the following week's AEW Dynamite, but Omega still showed up, thinking he'd only be working in a backstage capacity. However, he ended up doing a live promo with Chris Jericho during the broadcast. Immediately following Dynamite Wednesday, Omega sought medical care. On Thursday, he was hospitalized on doctor's orders, and it was determined that Omega had been suffering from diverticulitis. Now, Fightful say they've not been given a timetable for Omega's return, but it was looking like he'd be removed from immediate AEW plans. In addition to Omega likely being out of AEW World's End and the tag team title match with Chris Jericho against Ricky Starks and Big Bill, Fightful have been told there were tentative plans for Omega to wrestle this upcoming Wednesday on AEW Dynamite. Of course, they are now off. Several backstage at AEW Dynamite Wednesday said they could tell that Omega was not feeling his best, but was still trying to get through the show. Of course, it was Omega the best in his recovery from his illness. Now, this was kind of rumoured over the summer, but now it seemingly is confirmed and actually could be taking place next year as well. There is a real possibility that a current retired AEW star could face Bryan Danielson in the future. Now, regular viewers of AEW Collision will have no doubt picked up on commentator Nigel McGuinness's frequent jabs at the American Dragon while sat behind the commentary desk. While McGuinness is the heel-leaning voice at the booth, his repeated targeting of Danielson has many wondering if the two former Ring of Honor World Champions could potentially lock up in the future, something that has been teased by McGuinness in the past. Speaking with Mail Online, Danielson addressed the possibility of facing his old rival one more time, potentially even at All In London from Wembley Stadium here in the UK. Danielson said, quote, "Maybe one day I can get a rematch with Nigel McGuinness at Wembley. I know Nigel was really big on it last year, but at the time, I wasn't sure if he could hang with me. Now he's worked his ass off and got himself in great shape. Since then, my health has a little bit deteriorated, so now I see that as a real possibility." Danielson and McGuinness share a storied history with one another throughout the late 2000s, competing many times in Ring of Honor, Noah, and several indie events across the world. Danielson then discussed those bouts between 2006 and 2009 and what another match between the two at Wembley would mean. He said, quote, "He and I had some incredible matches that comparatively few people saw, like when you're talking about like the matches we had in 2006 through kind of 2009. The internet wasn't what it was today. Our generation has such nostalgia for Wembley, and especially UK wrestlers, especially Nigel, has talked about SummerSlam in 1992. And as an American, I never even thought I'd see Britain, so I've just marveled at this thing." Now, despite still competing week in and week out at present, it has been stated by Danielson and the AEW president Tony Khan that 2024 will be his final year of full-time competition, and he's expected to finish up sometime around the Wembley All-In show. However, he has stated he's not going to retire completely. He's just not going to be a full-time wrestler anymore. So would you like to see Bryan Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness? Would that be a fitting send-off for Bryan Danielson next year? Let me know your thoughts about that as well. Now, we've got a bit of an update when it comes to Charlotte Flair, and her knee injury is actually significantly worse than first thought. On the December 8 edition of SmackDown, Asuka defeated Charlotte Flair thanks to outside interference from Bayley. Now, during the course of the bout, Flair got her leg caught on the top rope and came up limping. The former 14-time champion was escorted from the ring and taken backstage by the doctor. On the December 15th episode of SmackDown, WWE announced that Charlotte had been sidelined for 9 months due to the injury. Per Mike Johnson of PW Insider, Charlotte Flair has suffered a torn ACL, MCL, and meniscus when she fell from the top rope and will require surgery as soon as the procedure can be scheduled. The report also noted that the belief is that Charlotte suffered a strained back in the fall as well, but this hasn't been confirmed at the time of recording. In the December 17 edition of Wrestling Observer's Sunday Daily Update, Dave Meltzer reported, quote, "Charlotte Flair will be undergoing surgery for a torn ACL, MCL, and meniscus shortly, which were the injuries suffered last week that were talked about on SmackDown this week. She's listed as being out for 9 months. We wish her the best in her recovery as well." Now, we've got a bit of an update about some absent WWE Superstars too. Now, the Fightful Selectors released a report, Sean Ross Sapp, talking about several wrestlers that reportedly have been questioned about or asked about when it comes to their status, why they haven't been on television with WWE. Now, the first is Dexter Lumis, and hasn't wrestled a match since May. He's not been on the show. He hasn't been to many recent tapings. Now, Fightful have been told that he isn't injured and is good to go whenever WWE develops any creative plans for him. Odyssey Jones hasn't been on WWE television, but has been on the road. Fightful have been told there have been pitches for the Street Profits Lashley group to include Jones at one point, but there's been no development on screen. However, he returned to the road with WWE, teaming with Cameron Grimes against Austin Theory and Grayson Waller on recent live events. Now, what about the Nigerian giant Omos? Well, Omos has not been used on WWE television since SummerSlam, when he returned after almost never being used on TV since WrestleMania. Sources in WWE have told Fightful they feel like Omos can be used in an attraction role, but there haven't been many creative pitches thrown his way. However, he wrestles semi-regularly on live events, usually against the likes of Akira Tozawa in squash matches. So as of right now, there's no really creative plans for any of those stars that I just mentioned. Now, I've got an update on Will Osprey as well. Will Osprey is one of the top British wrestlers in the world today and helped out the indie scene in the UK and put it on the map in recent years thanks to his work with New Japan and other promotions. At AEW Full Gear last month, Osprey revealed that he was the latest and newest blockbuster signing for All Elite Wrestling to start in 2024 when his New Japan Pro Wrestling contract expires. With Osprey set to start ahead of AEW Revolution next year, every match he has leading up to his start in AEW will have plenty of eyes on it. At Rev Pro Uprising 2023, Will Osprey defeated Gabe Kidd in the main event. Following the win, he announced that Rev Pro's February 18, 2024 event will be his final show and challenged Michael Uku for the undisputed British Heavyweight Championship at the event. The two men previously faced one another in January of last year for the undisputed British Heavyweight Championship, with Osprey coming out on top of the bout. Following his start in AEW, Osprey will be allowed to continue working select New Japan shows. At Wrestle Kingdom 18, Osprey will face Jon Moxley and David Finlay in a three-way match to become the inaugural IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion. So Osprey is seemingly wrapping up his time on the indie scene, certainly in the UK, but he could have more matches in the future. Finally, Top Dollar. This is a really fascinating story and actually quite an inspirational one. Now, Top Dollar, former WWE superstar who now goes by his real name AJ Francis, has revealed that maybe one of his most infamous or famous moments in WWE, that's the botch on SmackDown last year, actually led to a life-saving discovery of an illness that he has. Now, a fan recently mocked the former footballer and WWE star on social media for botching a dive over the top rope a year ago on SmackDown. It's a very famous botch that everyone really knows about. Now, Top Dollar responded by saying that he's grateful for the botch move because it helped him find out that he has type 2 diabetes, stating that his blood sugar had spiked to over 600 milligrams. This is absolutely incredible stuff. He reported and spoke about this on social media. You can see the tweet in question here. He says, quote, "The botch saved my life. I made that dive a dozen times before. Legs fell off, but I didn't think about it. After I failed, I went to the doc and found out I had type 2 diabetes and my blood sugar was 626. I almost lost my life and was about to lose both feet. The botch saved my life." Now, as I mentioned, he then mentioned his diabetes diagnosis, and it contributed to a dramatic weight loss during which he shed 90 pounds in 5 months. Top Dollar later revealed that he is now 330 pounds, the weight he was during his football days, and now claims he feels better than ever thanks to his weight loss and medication too. Now, he expressed his gratitude towards various WWE superstars for keeping his health problems confidential, specifically thanking the Usos, AJ Styles, Santos Escobar, and his former Hit Row members, Ashanti the Adonis and B-Fab. After being re-signed by WWE in August 2022, Top Dollar went on to team with Hit Row again and even had singles matches before being released in September of this year. He is being advertised to feature at GCW's Look at Me show on January 26, returning to the promotion where he wrestled back in April of 2022. So actually, a infamous moment was really a life-saving moment as well. Certainly inspirational stuff. But there you go, guys. This is the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, button right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.